Andrew, let's talk about the white elephant in the room, the stock market.
So the stock market has been all over the place. The last 3 days was down a lot every day. Today, it's up again. So yeah, we'll talk about how the stock market's affecting the market today.
So stay tuned. I don't have as much to contribute to this
specific
topic because he follows it more than I do. But we'll tie it into the real estate,
Sure.
kind of what's happening with real estate in today's video. So stay tuned. So let's date the video.
So today is the April 8th, Tuesday, April 8th.
We had a big dip Friday, and then the market came up a little bit. Stock market came up a little Monday, right? Yesterday?
Well, Thursday, Friday, and Monday were down days. Yesterday was way down at one point and came back. Today it's up. It looks like close to 1,400 points. So it's making a recovery today. Why is this important in terms of real estate? Well, you know, truly, if you're looking at homes that are under $1 million, it really doesn't impact it much at all. If you're looking at homes that are over $1 million, and I can just use myself as sort of a very small study in terms of, in the last 3 years of all the properties I've transacted, I've only done maybe 3 or 4 finance deals. Mm-hmm. Very few of them are financed. So once you're over $1 million, especially if you go over 2, 3, 4 or higher, mm-hmm. very few of those deals are financed.
Because they usually bring it out of their portfolio.
They're usually pulling the money out of their portfolio. So they're usually selling stocks or bonds, or they're 1031 exchanges where they're selling another piece of property in order to buy this piece of property. The deals that were financed with me generally were larger deals where, you know, it's an $5 million deal. They're coming in with $7 million cash and they're financing $1.5 million. Mm-hmm. Really just kind of working the numbers in order for tax reasons, right? They're not truly financing the deal. But what we've seen in the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks is everything that's over that $1 million, $1.5 million mark has just absolutely hit the brakes. Like nothing is moving. We're not getting a lot of showings in that market because people that are looking in that, that luxury, especially waterfront luxury market, have really just stopped looking even. So that is one thing that we've seen. But conversely, the properties that are under $1 million, we're in sort of this last 3 to 4 weeks of season. And so most of the people that are under $1 million are financing. The stock market really doesn't impact them as much. Not that it doesn't impact them at all, but it doesn't impact them as much. And so in that market, we have seen an uptick in showings. We have seen an uptick in activity, but it really hasn't resulted in a ton of actual properties going under contract.
I know, and like, it's so frustrating.
Sure.
Because it's just like, you know, we have responsibilities to our sellers, and not that we sit here and say like, promise the world. I focus on under promising. It can be frustrating when you either don't have showings, they're slow, or when the people do come, they're kind of flaky and they're finicky. And I
think that, typically, especially when you go into that luxury market, most realtors, us included, when you go to market, you want to really set a high bar and really go after the highest number that you possibly can. And the thing about that is this, in a normal market, there's nothing wrong with that, coming in at a high price. And then if you're not getting any activity, starting to, peel the onion back a little bit and say, okay, we're going to drop the price here a little bit or a lot so that we can start getting some activity. But you're really playing a dangerous game by doing that right now because
we don't know if it's going to produce actual buyers and then therefore contracts, offers,
But at the point that it's not, if it's not producing any activity, one thing that I think we really pride ourselves on is when we take a property to market, within the first week or two, we are going to give our sellers tools to go in and see how many times is the property being viewed? How many times is the property being saved?
It's helpful.
It gives you
perspective of what we're actually doing.
And what I like to do with that information is pull up similar properties to show
case studies.
Yeah. How is your property that's listed right now how many times is it being viewed and saved in comparison to similar other properties?
Well, let's talk about your $7 million. If you haven't seen the video, check out the playlist, the $7 million listing that Andrew has. Like, you're getting views online.
A lot of views.
A ton of views online.
Sure.
The showings are really slow.
Extremely slow right now. And look, we're going for a big number, and especially a big number for Bradenton, up on the river. But the house is completely done. I mean, there is nothing left to do on this property.
Beautiful.
So even to the point that, anything that's not perfect up there, he really has just said, nope, it's not perfect, redo it. Everything there from top of the line drywall and flooring to built-ins, everything's been done. So
it's a new house. It's a new house, and you're on the river, and you've got boatable water.
Sure.
It's close to the interstate, but you don't hear anything. You've got to preserve it. There, on and on and on. So just look at the video.
Private. It's privacy. It's got all the luxury items.
It's practically it's brought down to the stuff. Like there's a before and after. There's before and after photos and stuff. But you're trying to get a big number, and also there's how many $7 million buyers, right? As you get up into the ether of the price band, right? There's not as many buyers as there are under $1 million, obviously.
Well, things that we like to talk about a lot are okay, who's your buyer, and these are all kind of like you're looking at a big picture kind of thing. Well, who's your buyer? Well, your buyer that can afford a $6 to $7 million home, if that's their primary home. They really have to be worth probably $20-25 million at least if that's their primary home in order to afford it. If it's their second or third home, then they've got to be worth 100, probably north of at least 75. Because you think about what's a $6 million home cost? Even if you pay cash for it, well, 1.25% is going to be your taxes, and you're going to be paying $75,000, $80,000, $85,000 a year in taxes.
Yeah.
Your electric bills are higher. Like all of your bills are much higher. Well, who can afford that? Well, somebody who's worth 24, 25 million certainly can.
And the interesting piece about when we talk about marketing and showing the sellers is so many people think like the buyer's got to be from New York or Dubai or Chicago. When I don't know what your list track is showing, but a lot of them show half of the buyers are looking from Florida.
I was really shocked. So I looked at the list track yesterday on the property. I always assume that most of the views are going to be from our area, from Bradenton, Sarasota. Okay. The largest number of views were from St. Pete and Tampa.
Oh, Florida, see?
So I was a little bit shocked. Next under that was Bradenton, and then Sarasota, and then other places in Florida, and then it kind of goes up to Chicago.
But is it 50-50? Is it 50-50 Florida?
It's more Florida than international or outside the state. And
you'll get on these listings, you'll get not just the higher end, but a lot of them. And then you'll get someone from Germany, a little blip of UK, or it's not what I don't know what the public generally thinks, but
and our numbers can be skewed also in the sense that so I have a lot of friends and family and clients that are from Chicago and New York. So of course I send them directly to all of my clients. So where you're going to have a lot more views in the Chicago area and in the New York area. That are clients of mine, friends, family, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We have done a lot of marketing over in Europe. So we direct email those and text them direct to the brokers that are over there as well. So you're going to have some natural, more views from those types of people that are going to filter into the statistics.
Stuttgart, we went to. Where else did we go?
Monaco, Nice, Cannes, sort of the south of France, and then of course I've done a little bit down in South America, and then we've really marketed well over there, well in Germany as well. We marketed well and got it out to a lot of people.
It's tough.
But
it's just a tough market, I think, with these.
Sure.
It's tough right now as we sit early April because it doesn't matter the location or the price point on us.
Sure.
Even though we focus on luxury and waterfront and stuff, we do everything. And the effects of the stock market and the tariff situation, I personally feel, this is my personal opinion, this is not based on facts or data. I'm not a stock market analyst, okay, and I'm not in politics, But I feel like this is like a temporary,
Should be.
temporary pain, hopefully, for like long-term financial gains
Sure.
is what I'm hopeful for, even if the next 6 months or the rest of the year, hopefully not the rest of the year, but like, you know, maybe this will calm down. I think once the tariff negotiations settle down, hopefully, then we'll start to see more stability in the stock market.
Yeah, and I think that anytime I hear people saying, well, the sky is falling, or you know, oh my gosh, look at the amazing day or 2 days. Like the market isn't made in 1, 2, 3 days or 4 days. Yeah. So
it's
I
a long
think
game, just like real estate. Real estate and the stock market is a long game. If you're too emotional, just step away from it. You can't be emotional about it.
It really is. And I don't like, one of the things that I'm struggling with a little bit right now, I took a listing appointment yesterday. Mm-hmm. They wanted to list it at a pretty high number, and especially for that neighborhood. And the thinking was, well, if we don't think we can get the number right now, we'll wait 6 months. And my response to that is, of course, you know, look, could be better, it could be worse.
We don't know.
What I can tell you is it won't be the same. You know, the market's not going to be the same, exactly the same as it is right now.
But if you look at every single month, at the end of the month, we do the market update videos, and the trajectory has been an increase in supply. Now, will that subside, level out, decrease once the tariff situation? Again, these are not things that are going to happen overnight. It's a long game, and like the
numbers are trending. Well, the numbers are trending where inventory is going up and the amount of deals are going down. So as more and more properties hit the market, if they're not selling,
it keeps piling up.
It keeps piling up, and what's happening is that the inventory numbers, you know, it's on average it's taking somewhere between 8 and 13 months to sell a home in some of these areas.
I mean, the inventory is from this time last year,
right? For
single-family Sarasota County homes, it's up almost 31%. So. You're in season, you're comparing this season to last season.
Right.
Last season was a 30-year low in sales volume across the country. I feel like this year's going to be lower. It feels like, I mean, this is my own little bubble here, but like, to me, it feels like it's going to be lower.
It's going to be tough. I think that if you have investors or if you are a buyer, you're thinking about buying, you are really in the driver's seat right now. There are going to be a ton of opportunities. I have a group of investors out of New York that I've been looking for single family homes to Airbnb here in the Sarasota area. Now, you and I have talked about this all the time. I tend to push those investors to the Southgate and Gulf Gate areas because there's no HOAs. You're close to Siesta Key. You're close to downtown.
Not a flood zone.
You're not in a flood zone.
No CDD.
Yeah, no CDD. There's none of that. So it really is a great area. 2.5 years ago, when I was showing one of these clients single properties in that area, they had a choice of about 5 or 6 properties. Now I pulled up the exact same report, $450,000 to $550,000, three bedrooms or more with a swimming pool.
How many?
And there were close to 200 properties. So like, I think that is a good example of, and the quality of the properties that are on the market compared to those 8 that were back there on the, on the market 2 years ago are way better. Like the properties are in better shape. The pools are in better shape. There's a lot more inventory.
Have to be to sell.
Sure.
I mean, there's 47, well, this is as of last week. There's 47 houses for sale in Southgate right now, as of last week. And it's 31% higher, right? So you have to be priced well. You have to look perfect inside. Everything has to be perfectly staged.
And if you're, as the prices come down, meaning if you're looking at, you're comparing my $6.9 million property to $180,000 property. As you come lower, you need to be much more price conscious, meaning that I had a listing in Port Charlotte on this tiny little condo, really well updated, but we were a little bit high. And I mean by $5,000 or $6,000, $7,000. The reality is though, is that in that market down there, if you're buying under $200,000, you're very, very conscious of the price. And that $6,000 or $7,000, $8,000 certainly is margin. Well, yeah, it's not going to matter in a $2 million deal. Of course not. No. But in a $160,000 deal, that $7,000 is make or break for a buyer down in that price point. So we really, as you're coming into those lower price points, you really have to be cost and price conscious because the properties aren't moving, if you're not properly priced.
And what about, this is a whole nother avenue I didn't plan on talking about, But like the island condos too right now are seeing like these restoration liens. And that some of these are a little bit unknown as to how they can be handled.
Sure.
Now, we talked to one of our preferred real estate attorneys in town in Sarasota, and the advice that we got was, okay, let's say, for example, there's one on Longboat for 1.1 million is the lien. Now, and there's 139 units in that community. You divide it by the units, and then you add, it's 150% of that and hold it in an escrow holdback. And in order for the buyer to have clear title, they have
to hold back that amount of money.
Well, they not only hold the escrow money for between 1 and 2 years at the most, and there's a fee, of course, but they waive the title underwriter's override of that. So they waive it so that your buyer can have clear title, and then the money just sits in a separate account and it's paid once the lien is closed or the work is done. So there's definitely workarounds. So we're learning all these things. We're forced to learn all these things as we go too, because, you know, we've been through many storms. So we haven't been through this massive, you know, shift in, you know, the way that we do business and the things that we have to know and advise our sellers and advise, do we lower the price or do we give big credits toward these things? Like it's not, there's not a one cookie cutter answer to these things. So on top of the stock market, we're working through these tariffs, we're working through still high interest rates, although they've come down, high inventory. And then we've got restoration liens. We're still going through the storm, you know.
But I think we should probably do another video, a separate video on barrier island condos.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really another one that we could do pretty quickly here. But in terms of what we started out talking about, like right now the market is very slow. We are coming out of season.
The real estate market.
Yeah, the real estate market. We have essentially 2-3 weeks left of season.
But when you say that, don't be scared to list in the summer either.
Agreed.
When we say season, we're so used to saying season because that was always historically the time.
There is a slowdown. And you can't deny that there certainly is a slowdown, but it doesn't stop us from transacting properties. I do remember, the last couple of years in July and August, I think that we both had several. We had closings and a lot of closings, but you have to be aware that if you're listing at the end of April, going into pulling out a season, it is going to take more time. You're not going to have as many showings. You're not going to have as many buyers in the market. There is a large population of people, I think, and that this is just based on my experience, that there's a large population of buyers that come here, they're on vacation, or they've been here a few times on vacation. They come into town and are like, we really love it here, and they buy. And it's certainly much more of an impulse buy if they're doing that. Right now, it's very difficult for that buyer to buy because of the hurricanes, because of the flooding, because of the issues on the costs on the barrier islands, especially in terms of HOAs. So I think that coming out of season and eliminating, on top of eliminating some of these buyers, is going to make it a little bit slower this season. But with that being said, if you're an investor or if you're a single family, you're a first-time home buyer, this is an amazing time to buy.
Call us.
Amazing time to buy because
sorry.
Because there's so much inventory. As the buyer, you can drive. You have leverage to drive the prices down. You have leverage to set the deal up the way that you need. If you're renting an apartment right now for $2,000 or $3,000 a month, and you're like, my lease ends 3 months from now. Well, if we were in COVID,
start looking now.
Yeah, well, if we were in COVID, I would say nobody's going to take a contingent offer when things are sold.
Well, I had a builder take a contingency, and we had to extend that contingency like 3-4 times. I was like, holy, never from recollection do I remember a builder even taking that, even way back in maybe in the Great Recession.
And builders are trying to get rid of inventory, so you are really in the driver's seat.
Call us.
Yeah, if you call us, the builders also are adding more incentives. Like if you use their lender, you can get a lot better rate. They're
deal.
giving you what's called flex cash. And what the flex cash is, truly, you can use it for whatever you want. You can use it for upgrades. You can use it to buy points. You can use it towards financing. You can use it towards your down payment.
Listen, have them buy down your rate. I just had a client close with the Taylor Morrison. They bought the rate down for like 5.8% fixed, 30-year, like.
Right.
That was gold.
Right.
That on top of like $20,000 off for closing costs. Like it was a no-brainer, and it's brand new, under $500,000. Like, how can you compete with that as a resale homeowner? It's really tough to compete against that.
Well, right. And I just think that right now, though, if you're a new home buyer, if you are an investor, especially if you're an investor that is willing to play the timing game from the standpoint of, hey, I can snap up a waterfront property that's in an area where I can Airbnb it, you could potentially purchase the property, make great income monthly,
and then
as it's going through,
it down the road.
And then once the market takes back off, there's going to be a massive uptick in resale.
I mean,
there's a property that I've done a couple of open houses at. It's an agent in my office. I think the value of the property is somewhere in the mid 800s. My guess is right now it would sell in the mid 600s. So if you could snap the property up and Airbnb it, there'd be a ton of opportunity to Airbnb it and make decent income off of it right now. And then if the market takes off, the value is going to snap right back up to the mid 800s. You could sell it and make a quick $200,000 profit on top of
another case study. But you know, there's a lot we could say. This video could be like 3 hours long.
Yeah, but let's wrap this one up. I mean, look, if you're looking to buy right now, feel free to reach out to me anytime, 7 days a week on my cell. Or sell at 941-586-2460.
And I can be reached as usual on my cell, 941-544-7690. Guys, thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. We love your comments. And feel free to share this with someone that you may find helpful. You can also email me, shaylatwit@gmail.com.